love it. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Built Different podcast with Levi Wanner, where we talk to owners, operators of business that actually do the work, real execution, not theory. Today's guest is my friend Stratton Brown, founder of Easy Fast Offers out of Fresno, California. He is currently investing in real estate and buying houses, real deals, real volume, real operations. He also comes from an athletic background, and that mindset shows up in how he runs his business. Today, we're going to break down what actually works in real estate, how to scale, and how to build businesses that run without you. All right, Strat, let's get into it, buddy. Kind of give us an introduction.
Yeah, man. My name is Stratton Brown. I scaled 2 different companies to 7 figures and had a 7-figure real estate portfolio before I was 30. I made my first $1 million in business at 25. And we wholesale houses. We have our Deal Champs community that shows people how to wholesale houses. And then I own a small staffing company called Virtual Help, where we help people recruit worldwide.
Fantastic. And you're from the California area?
No, I grew up in a small town in Utah.
Oh, that's right. And you went to college
Fresno
and played
State.
football?
Yeah, I played football at Fresno State.
Fresno State. That's how you got to Fresno. That's right.
Yeah.
Let's touch on that athletic background a little bit. What did that athletic background teach you about discipline and how you show up in business today?
Discipline. I like hiring athletes because I know I can put in a certain amount of work and eventually I'll get my desired result, right? And so it's just having the discipline to continue doing the work to get your desired result that you want. Like if you're not as fast, you can just legitimately go run a bunch and do off-season training to get a little bit faster. If you need to get stronger, like, hey, I need to get off blocks better. I need to work on my shucks or whatever it is. So I think it shows you, because I think business is all just acquiring skills. Like acquiring skills and then delegating, acquire a new skill, delegate it, teach it, or hire on someone who does it. And so like learning how to work really hard to acquire skill in a timely manner to improve yourself, I think is like the best. And doing the reps.
Yep. Just if you're not good at sales, just keep dialing the phone.
Yeah.
Yep. What's something people don't understand about the transition from, your college sports career into business? Is there any hurdles that you had to jump through?
Yeah, I had no life skills. Like I had who was going to hire a dude who just knows how to like tackle people? Like you can really just go into sales. And most college athletes, I had some friends who got like engineering degrees, which is awesome. But then one of my friends got like an Africana studies degree. And no offense to my fellow Black Americans, but you're not going to make any fucking money with an Africana studies degree. All you can do is teach.
Right. Native American study degrees are big in Montana.
Right, but it is a very, very niche skill that will not pay you a lot. And what are you going to do with it? Like I had a communications major. I mean, you're going into sales, bud. That's all you're going to do. You don't really need a communications major to go into sales. And so I didn't have a whole lot of skills afterwards. And it's just reforming your identity as an athlete to like, I'm more than an athlete and I can do other things. Because all you've thought about, ever since I was 12 years old, everybody told me I was going to the NFL, right? So you got to overcome that hurdle.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a tough one. People have those expectations and then not only a few make it.
Yeah.
So when did real estate kind of come into your life and how did it click with you?
When I was coming home from the Seahawks and when I was training for the NFL, I liked to party in college quite a bit. And so I was like, right, we all did. We all like to have a great time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I got to save myself for myself and I got to learn how to invest my money so I don't end up broke. So I was just trying to like hedge my bets. So I was like, because I want to live a really good lifestyle. I think like my math was, you're one of only like 1,000 people in the world who gets to be this person. So you might as well enjoy it a little bit, but you got to be smart about it so you don't blow all your money. So I started reading a bunch of books on investing, like Dave Ramsey is what I started, because my parents were really big Dave Ramsey people. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Bigger Pockets, Grant Cardone, And I started reading all those books, and then I started going to real estate meetups when I got home, and I met a guy who changed my life. He was in he's how I met Mark.
Yeah.
So he was in Mark's original mastermind way back when. This was like 2017, 2018. And I met him at a real estate meetup, and he was like, yeah, a couple years ago, I used to drive a tractor or drive truck and make like 30 grand a year. Now I make $200,000 a month. And then here's all of my receipts. And he just pulls out his phone and starts swiping through checks and just showing me how much money he's making. I was like, oh, sweet. Like, that's awesome. He's like, and I want to buy a jet. I already own a bunch of houses out here. I own a bunch in Indiana. And that's probably the most pivotal conversation in my life because nobody actively talked about money. I grew up in a very like blue collar, everybody was a business owner. All of my aunts and uncles were business owners, but nobody talked about money and nobody was like overly ambitious. But he was
It's kind of
ambitious.
from when our parents, it was kind of a taboo subject to talk about finances and
Yeah,
what to do to get better.
exactly. To where like in the high school and middle school, I lived with one of my really close friends, who's like my brother, and I call his parents mom and dad, and they are worth a lot of money, and we never even knew because he's a construction guy, and obviously you can't be driving around Ferraris if you have a construction company. Right. You're just gonna have all sorts of labor problems. Everybody's gonna be bitching at you or whatever else it is. And he would have been the one who I thought would have that conversation with me, and he never did. But he's a really ambitious guy, but he never actively talked about money.
Yeah. And, meeting that guy we're talking about Mark Evans Deal Maker Group, which is so many great guys in that group. Putting yourself in those rooms with people like that, for me, has been so important, meeting someone like yourself and seeing what you're doing and just seeing that it's possible. When did you start, getting into those kind of groups and you working on your self-improvement?
Oh man, like from like the very beginning. Like I worked for that guy for about a year and a half, 2 years. Like 2019 is when I started doing stuff on my own, 2020-ish. And in 2019 or 2020, from the very beginning. When I got a tax return after I stopped working for that guy, I left that guy and I had absolutely no cash saved up. I was like, yeah, I can just do it on my own. I'll be fine. And I was not fine. I had no savings. I had no money to market. And I used my tax return to go to my friend now, Steve Trang's like educational thing. And it was like a $2,000 thing. I got a $2,000 tax return. I had to send it all to Steve. He didn't know I was using my tax return money. But then I went there, learned a bunch of stuff, and that's like where a lot of my network came from too. Like you said, like getting in the rooms with amazing people to where out of all of the real estate influencers who are big on the internet, I probably know every single one of them and have their cell phone number. And I can point it back to that decision in my life.
That's a huge pivot for you. Are you still in contact with that first guy at the Dealmaker event that showed you the receipts?
No, not as much. But he changed my life.
Oh, that's fantastic. So let's get into real estate a little bit. What are you looking for in the deals that when you're structuring your deals? What's the basics if someone's listening and want to get into wholesaling and flipping? What kind of deals are you looking for right now?
Anybody who wants to sell me a house for pennies on the dollar.
And they're out there.
They're out there. Like we have one in Kalamazoo that we just assigned today, and it's like in it's on the outskirts of Kalamazoo, and we got it sold, and we think we have it at a good price. That one's a good one, but like we have stuff all over the place. If I like look at our sheet where we track stuff, like I have one in Newton, Mississippi, LA, Fairfield, California, Bakersfield, California, Newcastle, Delaware, Washington, D.C., Valdosta, Georgia, Spring Lake, Michigan, Mountain View, Hawaii.
Wow.
Centerville, Mississippi, San Antonio, Tucson, Louisville, Illinois, Bedford, Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, Longview, Texas, Hanford,
How do you
California.
manage those when they're so far away when you're wholesaling?
Um, it depends, dude. We had a deal blow up last week because we signed this woman, and she was like, "I want to go with this other guy." And my sales rep got this woman to sign with us for like 30K than the other guy, and the other guy had walked it too, and she went with us. We're like, awesome. And then we go to sell it and wholesale the house, and we send it to the other guy who walked it, and we had no clue, and he obviously snaked the deal from us.
Oh,
So like
yeah,
that's like the
that's
name of the
tough.
game, and how are we supposed to know that who the other guy was that she was talking to and pulled out of our marketing? That's just kind of like the name of the game. But typically, let's say if a lead comes in, our AI will call it, a sales rep will call it, and then we have an AI that makes about it. We want to keep it at 1,000 calls a day. That calls all of our inbound leads. But if I look up the sum right now, our average right now is 639 calls a day. I bet you our average this month is 900 a day. And so we
Okay.
have an AI that is actively just going through, and on average, it sets about 16 appointments for us a day.
Oh
Sorry,
wow.
no, 16 quality conversations, 3.6 appointments. But if I look at it, yesterday it set 3 appointments, Monday it set 9, Sunday it set 8, on the 10th it set 13. And so we just have it
That
running all day.
that's pretty incredible. We're gonna get a little bit into AI at the end because I think that's an incredible topic for real estate. And so there's tons of we've all seen the infomercials about wholesaling and flipping, and there's lots of competition out there. What do you think separates you and who scale that business and those that suck?
Um, it's an operator business now. Like you're a commodity. I feel like it used to be able to be like you could just kind of fly by the seat of your pants and go make a lot of money. Like when Alan got started, the guy who I worked for, he just did that knocking doors, bro. And he's one of the hardest workers, if not the hardest worker I've ever met. But now, like, we track response rates. I know exactly, okay, when did the lead come in? How many leads did that call get? Like, I'm not a person who's like at a point where I can let stuff run without me. We put people in place. Like, I am operating our companies. Like, I am finger on the pulse. Okay,
Hmm.
what's here? What's here? What's here? What's here? I see this trend. What are you fucking up with over here? And why is this happening? We need to change this. And why didn't you catch this? But like now at this point in real estate, it is hyper competitive. So we get to the leads faster. We call the leads more. We have an auto dialer that we call all of our inbound leads with. We have the AI that calls all the leads. We have an AI texting bot that will text all the leads. And so like a lead comes in at 3 a.m., our AI is calling it, and then our AI is texting it, having a conversation, setting an appointment. And we've invested a lot into AI lately over the last year or so, and it's because it's just an operator business. Your margins are going to keep getting shrunk because the biggest people, and this you're going to see this in every single business, the biggest people with the biggest budgets are going to be able to invest heavily into AI, and they're going to be able to squeeze out the little people more and more and more and more because they can get better cogs essentially. Like I don't need to bring on more labor force. I have a tech guy whose sole job is to push forward what I want with AI. And it's like, hey, Simba, this is the 3 things that you need to build this week that is going to help our company grow. And I would need to hire on 2 people to do those 3 things. And now it's not. I have AI doing this.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you're not dealing with employees calling in sick and their personal
Exactly.
issues, and it's such a big deal right now. If someone's trying to break into that industry right now, where would they start?
Join the Deal Champs community, the best place to learn how to wholesale real estate. Go to dealchamps.com forward
Yes,
slash
I've been
apply.
on that podcast. It's fantastic. Great guys. We'll teach you the deals.
Not
Love
a
that.
pitch fest. Well,
Love it.
Levi won't pitch you. I'll pitch you. Join the
I'll
community.
pitch you. Yeah, we'll go listen to the podcast too. They're a lot of fun. kind of mistakes do you think that you learned early that you could have learned faster if somebody did join a group like Deal Chat?
Um, I get really overzealous when it comes to scaling, and I'll blow my load too fast. And I'm overly optimistic that we'll be able to close deals. And instead of giving yourself 6 months of runway, you go 3 and say, I'll figure it out in the next 3. Typically, you're not going to figure it out in the next 3. And deals take a long time to close. And so you need to give yourself more runway and not just blow your load so fast. I'd say that's been because we've grown stuff fast, but at the same time, with that type of aggression, if you don't allocate the funds properly, you can just kind of make yourself dead in the water. And yeah, you want to burn the boats, but you don't want to be stupid when you do it.
Absolutely. And I think that guys like us have that problem because as entrepreneurs, we are always the glass is half full and it's always going to be sunny. And then we'll just deal with the fires when they get there.
Exactly.
And that sounds a lot like me. And you just push forward and you're going 100 miles an hour. What does your normal day-to-day look like? No, you got young kiddos and you got kids playing sports and all that fun stuff. So how does there is no typical day, but what does a good day for Stratton look like?
Spending time with my family. Fun time with the significant other is always a big one. You got to have that in there.
Yep.
We make money. And I think this is a good thing for everybody to write down as an entrepreneur, because more times than not, every day is going to be a bad day and you'll get a good day like every 2 or 3 weeks, in my opinion. Like more times than not, a lot of days are going to be bad days. So if you can have in your head what was a good day, you can actually appreciate it. Like, you know what, today was a good day. Like I had sex with my wife, we went on a date. I got to do all these things. We made money. I got to go watch football with my son, whatever it was. Because we get kicked in the face a lot. A lot of people on the internet make it seem like you don't. I feel like I wake up and I'm ready for war. And I got to go to war. And sometimes war isn't the easiest thing. So when it does go good, you should appreciate it.
That's a real powerful answer. That's I love that because I think we are built for that. And the Instagram life makes it seem real easy, where it's going to be all fun and games all the time.
Yeah.
And sitting on the yacht or in your Lambo, and
exactly.
And there's when you're dealing with people and their emotions, and then their emotions with their homes is so high at baseline.
Oh, dude, I personally think we deal with the worst type of customer ever. I run a glorified pawn shop, is what I run. Like I run a national pawn shop, and I deal with the wildest humans you could ever imagine.
Oh, and and we're real estate guys. We're home. We deal with people's homes, and I've sold plenty of my own houses and not been emotional about it. But for some reason, when people raise their kids in their house, and especially when you're dealing with people that like you're trying to get it at a deal because they're in some kind of hardship.
Exactly. Like it may not always be a hardship. A lot of people want an easy transaction, but a lot of times, like it's someone had died. Someone inherited it. The person who inherited it is not a good steward of the family's wealth. And they've pissed it down the drain or whatever. And so like their decision making is not there. And they're just wild people. Like I have so many different stories of all these different wild humans that we deal with in this industry. Because in all reality, no one is calling a bandit sign saying I buy houses. And like they're like I don't know. Like that's just not a typical person you're going to be dealing with.
Right.
In your
day-to-day
life.
I'm going to get top dollar.
And I'm going to get top dollar. Like it's so, yeah, I think our client base is not for the weak. And Mark always talked about like scaling chaos, and you got to have other businesses that you want to do, whether you're buying storage like we do or something else, or the staffing company. Because I think scaling a wholesaling company, for me, it's emotionally draining. Like the amount of people that we deal with every day. And just like we have one dude, we're doing an ovation. He calls my sales rep 4 times a day for like just to check in and talk to him or bitch about nothing. Or we have it up on the market and we sent over cleaners. We've invested money into this. And he calls my sales rep saying, I went over to the house and the house isn't clean. And so we send over the realtor, like, hey, what are you doing? What are we paying these people for? He's like, bro, the house is spick and span. Like, we took new photos. What's going on here? Like, and just stuff like that. It's the name of the game. That's why we get paid. I wouldn't say the big bucks, but that's why you want to negotiate for bigger deals in order to make it worth dealing with all the nonsense.
Absolutely. We've got a retired couple that we built a custom house for, and they've been in it for about a month now. And this guy, he's retired. He doesn't have
Not
anything
doing
going on
anything.
during the day, and he refuses. He texts every Friday night or calls every Friday night at 7, and Sunday morning like clockwork, like with the littlest minuscule deals that can Monday morning would have been just fine to wait on. So
I feel like that is purposeful. If you were calling someone on a Friday afternoon, you're an asshat.
you're doing it on purpose.
You're doing it on purpose, bro. Like, there's
Yeah.
no reason, unless someone is dying or like it's like a big emergency.
Yeah.
Why are you calling me on Friday at 6 or sending me an email Friday at 6?
Absolutely.
Like, I feel like that's very
the
purposeful.
voicemails are, hey, sorry, I know it's Friday at 8 o'clock, but the but always comes. Like it's inevitable. But unless there's water running through your house like a river, don't call. What do you do when you're analyzing deals what's the biggest way to mitigate risk? Is it obviously getting the best price? The
Getting
home
the best price.
inspections. What's up?
You have to get it so cheap. Like, we do nationwide stuff. Like, I think I named off
Yeah.
every single one of those was in a different city. I don't think any of them were in the same city. And let's say we have a 50% success rate on these because real estate is so particular. Like, here in Fresno, there's a street called Olive, or there's this intersection down one of the main streets in Fresno called Shaw and Marks. There's a set of condos on one of the corners on Shaw and Marks. Shaw and Marks is next to a really nice area, but that condo complex is a war zone. And we can't sell these condos for 40 grand, and this is in California. You don't know this unless like you're very tied in to what it is of like once you pass this street, it changes because of X and Y, and then the people decided not to live here anymore, and so now it drops 100 grand. So you just have to get everything as cheap as possible. Like that one in Hawaii, we do everything sight unseen. And so the guy says like, yeah, the house is just like beat up a little bit. And so we lock it up for 30 grand. And I'm like, okay, like we'll sell it for like 100. We send someone over there. The house is essentially stripped down to nothing. The sheetrock, it's like all studs. Someone ripped out all the plumbing, all the wiring. And then we find out that the house didn't even have permits to be built in the first place.
Oh, geez.
And so now it's like, okay, well, we're dealing with land value. That's why all sellers are liars. And I posted about this the other day. We had a woman say, hey, I have this fire damaged house I inherited. I have an offer for like 30 grand. I don't know if I want to take it. There's just a little bit of fire damage on the ceiling. And I got photos back on Monday from my team, and I look at it, and the roof is gone. And she was like, yeah, it's still livable. Bro, the roof is fucking gone. And then, like, it's burnt out and everything else. So like, we can't even do anything with this. Like, unless you want to sell it to us at 5 grand, man, like and even at 5 grand, it's either the deal works or the deal doesn't work. Like, essentially, either we can give it to them or we can't.
You're bulldozing and just selling land at that point.
Yeah, and the land, people would still be like, you have a much smaller buyer pool of someone who'd want to buy land and have to bulldoze it and build it. Because it's in a tertiary market. It's not in like a major metro. If it's in a major metro, that's one thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of risk that when you're buying stuff sight unseen. I mean, you guys are dealing with the most risk probably of any real estate investors.
We don't, but luckily we don't take anything down. Anybody who's like actively flipping, and they were doing it nationwide, like I think that is a ton of risk. Like what Open Door does, and what essentially what the iBuyers did, where they would buy stuff sight unseen anywhere in the country. Luckily, they had enough capital to where like Zillow would buy up entire neighborhoods just to inflate the price. And they could do stuff like that, but like you don't have billions of dollars in capital backing you.
Right.
So you got to just buy everything as cheap as you can.
And that's why you're seeing a lot of those, the Zillows and those
Exactly.
iBuyers and stuff kind of going away because it's just not a feasible business model.
I think with AI, now it'll be easier. But comping, and you know this probably more than me, is just as much an art as it is a science. Like it is still numbers, but you got to like have an eye for it. Like, okay, does this one have good design? Where is it exactly? Is it on a corner? Okay, what is the inside? What do the countertops look like? You have all these different variables to where it is just as much of an art as a science to get something really dialed.
It's funny because 95% of all the agents out there go on with their comps, they go on, solds because that's how they're trained. Um, I was trained early on, like, why are we looking at what's sold? Let's look at what our competition two doors down is doing. So I look
Exactly.
at, yep, that's what I look at. Like, what if we're gonna go up against somebody? Let's price it. If this house is better in this way and this way, but we've got this and this, let's price it accordingly to where we're the more attractive one and get it sold quickly.
Yeah.
Let's pivot into AI a little bit. How did you, what was your first kind of steps and diving into using that for your business?
Um, what was the first big step? I've been like leaning into a little bit more. And then I went to this. Have you ever listened to like the All In podcast?
Yep.
So I went to their summit last year. And I talked to as many people as I could, asking a bunch of questions. And everyone was like, yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to like make a bunch of jobs. But then I was like, well, so what about like the people who I know in these like small towns? I personally think AI is going to be a net negative for the world. And like what the Rust Belt looks like, a lot of the world will look like that. A lot of America will look like that because the jobs are not going to come fast enough to keep up with AI's growth. And then I saw what
Okay.
other people were doing with AI. I was like, okay, like we got to hop on the train. And that's what really got me into it. So like we use Steve Trang's objection proof AI. It does automatic sales grading of all of our sales reps. That helps them get better. We have role play bots that everybody has to role play with every day. That's an AI bot that they're talking to. It makes, like I said, probably like 1,000 calls a day for us AI wise. We have a texting bot that is AI. Over the weekend, it kind of went astray and it made an offer and tried to send a contract to someone via text. What else do we use? We use AI comping a little bit. We are building out AI for all of our reporting, AI for our recruiting business. At this point, I feel like if you don't implement it, and everybody can say like even like blue collar jobs are safe and they aren't.
Oh
When
no.
I was there, essentially they're like, yeah, the only thing stopping AI right now is essentially the hardware because the brain is good enough to do a lot of these tasks, but the hardware isn't built yet in order to be like to interface with the world. But and everybody said like, yeah, it's 7 years away. With that, after that, blue collar's not safe, no one's safe. And so I was like, well, we got to make as much money as we can in the next at this point 6 years. That was last year, 7 years ago. Like in the next 6 years, I think a lot is going to change, and a lot of it sometimes is like parlor tricks. Like it demos good, but it doesn't work really well. But then a
Hmm.
lot of it's really good. Like Claude Code is good. Our OpenClaw agent was okay. We use Claude Code now, but like Manus is crazy good. And I'm talking about like agentic. You can say, hey, go do this, or what is our reporting on this? Go send these emails, cut up this content, whatever it is. That is getting a lot better every day, and today is the worst it'll ever be.
Yeah, and it's just getting better every day. I mean, I think you're right. It's scary. It's ultimately going to kill us. But
Yeah.
I'm with you 100%. We've got to cash in now, so we're kind of insulated for when all the jobs are kind of taken.
Yeah, I don't see, there's lots of people who think it's going to be like the Industrial Revolution, and I don't see that whatsoever. I think it's if it can self-improve and it has hardware and it's the smartest thing, it's significantly smarter than you could ever imagine and you would ever be. There's no room for jobs. Like it'll do all the jobs. And then what are you going to do? Like everybody's going to be an artist. I think you're going to have a huge, you'll see a huge like uptick in suicides. I think it's going to be really, really bad. That's just me. I'm kind of a doomer.
No, I agree with you. I mean, and we kind of saw it during the pandemic with all the depression and everything when people were stuck in their houses with nothing to do.
Yeah.
We've got to have goals and dreams to go chase, or we're just in trouble. So, well, I appreciate your time. I've got one question that I always end with, and we have got a running tally on this, and we've got a tally of how men answer it versus women.
Okay.
I've got a pretty good idea. So being an athlete, do you hate to lose more or love to win more?
I don't think about losing. I want to dominate in every aspect. But if I lose, it doesn't necessarily bug me too much because I know I'm just going to continue going until I win. So
And
it's
you're
a,
gonna learn.
yeah, like I'll just keep going until I win. And so like the losing doesn't necessarily make me that upset, but like I really, really, really want to win and win big is what I operate on in like my internal locus of control.
All right. I love that answer. It's different. It's not what I would have guessed because grew up an athlete as well, and I hate to lose at everything, card games with my kids, all of that kind of stuff. Like, and the reason I say it is because I expect to win. So I don't love it as much as I hate to lose because winning
Yeah.
the work, the reps that we put in, everything like that. I expect that to happen, and I hate to lose. But that's a fantastic answer. Where can everybody find you at?
You can follow me on Instagram at StratDaddy or DealChamps.com.
Yep. And it's a fantastic podcast. I listen to all their episodes. They do a great job. So, Stratton, I appreciate you being on here, and let's get together soon.
Of course. Thank you for having me on, bro.
See you.